This lecture is about pattern number 6. Before dealing with the structure of pattern number 6, just like the other patterns that we have studied before, let's introduce new terms: transitive and intransitive verbs, because we will need one of them in this pattern and the other in the following patterns. So what is a transitive verb and what is an intransitive verb? Well, verbs are either transitive or intransitive. A transitive verb is a verb that needs one or more objects to complete its meaning. So the verb that is followed by one or more objects is called a transitive verb. For example, she sent a message. Sent is the verb. After sent, we have a message, which is N. It is a noun. Here, it is an object, and it is one object only, which makes sent a transitive verb. In the second sentence, she sent me a message. After sent, we have me and a message. Me is N. It is a pronoun, so it is N. A message is N. So we have two N's after the verb. We have two objects after the verb. So sent here again is a transitive verb. On the other hand, an intransitive verb is a verb that does not need an object to complete its meaning. It means that after the intransitive verb, we do not have N. We do not have an object. We might have an adverb, which is optional, but we do not have an object after the intransitive verb. For example, the baby smiled. Smiled is the verb. Notice that after smiled, we don't have any word, which means that because we don't have any object after this verb, it means that this verb is an intransitive verb. Of course, the baby is N, which is the subject of the sentence, and smiled is the verb. Because the verb is not followed by N, it is not followed by an object, this verb is called an intransitive verb. In the next sentence, the apple fell from the tree. Fell is the verb. After this verb, we have from the tree. It is a prepositional phrase. It's not N. It's not an object. It's only an adverb of place. So after the verb, we don't have an object. We have an adverb of place, which is optional. And because we don't have an object after the verb, this verb is called an intransitive verb. The apple is the subject of the sentence, which is N. Fell is the verb, and from the tree is only an optional adverb. It's time to start with pattern number 6. The structure of pattern number 6 is N, intransitive verb. INV stands for intransitive verb. So the structure of pattern number 6 consists of N, which is the subject of the sentence, and the verb, which is an intransitive verb. That's it. As we've said, intransitive verbs are verbs that are not followed by objects. They do not need objects. These verbs include verbs like sit, smile, stand, agree, arrive, etc. And these verbs can be followed optionally by adverbs or adverbials. When I say optionally, it means that the adverbs are not part of the pattern. They are optional. We can remove them or put them without any change in the structure of the sentence. They just add to the meaning of the sentence, but the structure of the pattern is not going to be changed. It remains an intransitive verb, subject plus a verb, which is an intransitive verb. Let's take some examples. The baby was crying. In this sentence, the verb is was crying. After was crying, we have nothing. And especially, we don't have an N to say that we have an object, because there is no object after the verb. This verb is called an intransitive verb. The baby is N, the verb is an intransitive verb, so it is pattern number 6 because it has the structure N, intransitive verb. In the second sentence, he laughed loudly. Laughed is the verb. After laughed, we have loudly, which is an adverb. This adverb is optional because if I remove it or put it, the sentence remains grammatical and the pattern remains the same. Laughed here is an intransitive verb because it is not followed by an object. It is only followed by an optional adverb. So he is N, laughed is an intransitive verb, and the pattern is pattern number 6. James went to the campus cafe. In this sentence, went is the verb. After went, we have to the campus cafe, which is an adverb of place. It is optional. Here, went is an intransitive verb because it is not followed by an object. James is N, went, intransitive verb. The pattern is pattern number 6. In the last sentence, sleep early, it is an imperative sentence. Of course, the subject is you between two brackets because it is not apparent, it is implied. So, sleep is the verb in this sentence. After sleep, we have early, which is an adverb. As we've said, the adverb here is optional. In all of the patterns, the adverb is optional when it comes after the verb, except two patterns, pattern number 2 and one of the structures of pattern number 9. So in all of other patterns, the adverb is optional. In this pattern, the adverb is optional. Sleep is followed by an optional adverb. It is not followed by N, which is an object, which means that sleep is an intransitive verb. So the implied you is N, sleep is an intransitive verb, and the pattern is pattern number 6. Let's take this note about pattern number 6. We've said that the structure of pattern number 6 consists of an intransitive verb. So the type of the verb in this pattern is an intransitive verb. Some verbs in English are always intransitive. They can never be followed by N. They can never be followed by objects. So they are intransitive by nature, like sit, appear, belong, sleep, laugh, etc. But other verbs can be transitive or intransitive. Some other verbs can be both, according to the sentence. If the verb is followed by adverbs only, then it is an intransitive verb and the pattern is pattern number 6. But if the same verb is followed in another sentence, is followed by a noun or pronoun, and the noun can be substituted by him, her, it, them, etc., which are object pronouns, then the verb is a transitive verb and the pattern is another pattern, which is pattern number 7. Let's see this in examples. For example, the verb open can be transitive or intransitive according to the structure of the sentence. Let's take this verb in two sentences. In one of them, it is intransitive and in another, it is transitive. In the first sentence, the museum opens at 10 a.m. Notice that the verb opens is followed by an adverb of time. Because it is not followed by N, it is not followed by an object, it means that this verb is an intransitive verb and the pattern is pattern number 6. So the museum is N, opens is intransitive verb. It is pattern number 6. Of course, the adverb is optional. We put this adverb between two brackets, which means that it is optional. In the second sentence, she opens her shop every day at 6. Opens is followed by her shop. Her shop is an. It is a noun phrase. It is an. This an is the object of the sentence. Because opens is followed by an object, by an, which is an object, and this object can be substituted by an object pronoun. Her shop, it. I can say she opens it every day at 6, and by it I mean her shop. It means that her shop is the object of the sentence. So opens here, because it is followed by an object, it is a transitive verb. She is an, opens is a transitive verb, and her shop is an, which is an object. Every day at 6, adverbs. Adverbs of time. It is pattern number 7. Later on, you will know the first n is n1 and the second n is n2. However, here the verb is followed by an object, so it is a transitive verb. The verb see is also one of the verbs that can be transitive or intransitive according to context. In the first sentence, I can see clearly now. Can see is the verb. After the verb, we have clearly now two adverbs. These adverbs are optional, as we've said. Can see is not followed by an. It is not followed by an object. It means that can see here is an intransitive verb. I is n, can see is intransitive verb, and the pattern is pattern number 6. But in the sentence, I can see many students outside. Can see is followed by many students. Many students is a noun phrase, so it is an. And this is the object of the sentence. In order to be sure, I can substitute many students with them, with the object pronoun them. So the sentence will be, I can see them outside. And it is correct. I can see them. So here, many students is the object of the sentence. Because can see is followed by an object, it is a transitive verb. Then, it is a transitive verb. Outside is an optional adverb. I is an, can see is a transitive verb, many students is an, and outside is an optional adverb, and the pattern is not pattern number 6 because can see here is a transitive verb. It is pattern number 7.